How's it going, guys? Randall, aka Shizukats here, and welcome back to the Tressa's Collectibles channel. Today we're going to be doing a product opening for the third and final Saekano set in Weiss Schwarz, Saekano the Movie Finale, or as it's known on the JP side, Saekano Fine. So this set was released in Japanese back in June of 2022, so it's been a little under 2 years at this point. As far as what this set added to Saekano from the previous two sets, I think a lot of the experienced Saekano players would say that this didn't add a ton in terms of competitive viability, but the first two sets already had a pretty strong package as it was with the level 1 gold bar into level 3 door deck that we have deck profiled previously on the channel. I think that if you were to play that deck with just the first two sets right now in English, it would be honestly a pretty strong deck. That particular deck obviously did have some restrictions that significantly reduced its competitive viability on the Japanese side. But I think that right now it's still quite fine in English, and we have some pretty cool new tools in the third set that can boost that deck even further. Of course, we do have some other cool new strategies in this set as well. In set 2, we saw a bit of an Eriri+Utaha strategy evolving with things like the shot level 1 and door level 3. And in this set, that particular pairing of characters is also going to see a new deck archetype. This time it's going to be standby choice. So we'll definitely be taking a look at that. We have some cool new cards for some of the other characters as well. Like we have some new Izumi cards for a choice deck. And we have some new blue cards for Michiru as well. And then, of course, we have the Megumi Kato memory package that's going to be getting some cool new toys as well, with a new level 1 combo, new level 3 combo, and a lot of cool new level 0 utility. So can't wait to show you guys what this set has in store. It's definitely a lot of really cool, exciting new stuff. But before we get into our product opening, we of course have to take a look at our case topper playmat. Since this is not an EN original set, it is going to be one case topper playmat per case, and these are the stitched edge variety. And as far as the art goes, the previous two case topper playmats for Saekano have featured pretty much the entire main cast minus Tomoya. And this time we have just Kato with the same art that we have on the front of the box. So with that being said, we're going to get right into our product opening. We're just going to be doing our usual fare of 2 booster boxes. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Okay, so as far as the box ratios go, let's start with the case ratios first. Within a sealed case of booster boxes, you should be expecting to get 2 big hits. So that'll either be 2 SPs or 1 SP and 1 secret. And those secrets are the highly coveted, even higher rarity that is going to be pretty hard to get. And they feature some a bit risque art of our 3 main heroines, and hopefully we can pull one of those today. As far as the SPs go, we also have one for each of the girls in the cast, and a bit unfortunately, we do have the return of the stamp cards in the set rather than the signatures, but for the serial collectors, that does also mean that we are going to have the return of serials as well. Hopefully we can pull one of those in this box. So let's get right into it with our first one. As far as the individual box ratios, you should be expecting to get 4 or 5 double Rs and 1 or 2 foils, pretty much standard for most of the sets. For our box topper promo, we have the 2-1 Michiru. When this is placed on stage from hand, so you would have to play it from your hand onto the stage rather than using it as a counter, you can refund 1 stock from waiting room if you have a full board. So kind of a weird secondary effect, not really a card that sees much use. Especially considering that Saekano has quite a few counters that are quite useful that we would prefer to be using, especially at level 2, such as the refresh counter or the anti-change counter. All right, let's get right into our first pack. There's actually quite a few legacy support cards that are going to be supporting some of the old strategies as well. So hopefully we'll be able to take a look at some of those. Our first one is not a legacy support card in particular, but it does definitely help out the Kato memory strategy. So this is a level assist specifically to characters that have Megumi in their card names, and then you can rest him to Send a character from your waiting room with Megumi and its card name to memory if you have 4 or less cards in memory. There are some specific Kato cards that do special things when they are in memory. So having this Tomoya being able to send those cards rather than just send like a random Megumi can also be really, really strong. For example, the level 0 Megumi Red Double R, which it's like a climax swapper when it's in memory. So having the ability to send that at will is pretty cool. Okay, we have a stock Adachi. We have, this is a pretty interesting new counter. This is not something that we see very often. So it's a 2/1 Utaha counter, 2500 power. When you use the backup and you have 3 or more game characters in memory, you give one of your battling characters the effect to clock kick the battle opponent if the battle opponent gets reversed. So you can actually potentially threaten lethal on your opponent's turn by using this particular Utaha. Very, very interesting card. Okay, we have a top check 4 and shuffle back 2. This is a profile that, or like a pairing of profiles that would be very helpful in decks that want to like trigger specific cards or shuffle back specific cards to get them back into your hand. We have the Fumio event. So this lets you choose two, your opponent chooses 2 climaxes in their waiting room and then shuffles back all the rest. It's pretty interesting that this is in blue, considering that blue is the color that has the Icy Tail Michiru finisher, and Michiru kind of feeds off your opponent having climaxes left in their deck, but it is an option if you want to try to splash it into your decks. Okay, let's see. What else do we got here? For our first rare, we have level 0 Megumi. When this card attacks, you do the Crush effect, so you get to look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose one of them to put back on top to become your trigger, and put the rest into waiting room. And then also, at the end of her attack, you can sacrifice one of your other game characters in order to move this to your back row. So, not the most useful pairing of abilities, but does allow you to get a +1 by sacrificing a character that would have otherwise just gotten probably sent to your waiting room during your opponent's next turn anyway, in order to save a body. And then when we have a couple climaxes, we have standby for Utaha. There's a couple standbys in this set. One of them is actually an Utaha combo that depicts Kato on the art. So, but they are both Utaha climaxes. And then here we have a gold bar climax here. Okay, so some of the Icy Tail cards in the set are kind of helpful to the old strategies. They didn't really get anything too exciting for any new strategies. In fact, their only climax combo in this set, the point of the climax combo is to swap with a climax in your waiting room. So they didn't really get any new huge tools, which is a little bit disappointing. Especially for Mike, who is a bit of a blue enthusiast, for those of you who have been watching the previous Saekano blocks on the channel. Okay, so this level 2 is our first piece of legacy support. So she is an assist 1500 to characters with Izumi in their name, just, kind of reinforcing you to play a deck full of Izumi cards. And then her first effect is a continuous effect. All of your level 3 Izumi early play from way back in the first set gain an ability where when they reverse their battle opponent, you can pay 1 and put 1 Little Love Rhapsody from your memory back into your waiting room in order to heal 1. So that particular early play, the early play condition is to have 2 copies of Little Love Rhapsody already in your memory. So you're going to have copies in memory already. And the on-play ability of that particular Izumi is on-play search. So this particular Izumi allows you to also allow those Izumis to heal. It works on both your turn or your opponent's turn, so you can get some pretty good value potentially, sending back your Little Love Rhapsodies into your waiting room, and then maybe sending them back to try to get even more heals after. It is pretty stock intensive though, because you have to pay 1 for this one, you have to pay 2 for the early play, and then every time you want to heal, you have to pay 1 stock as well. But that is a pretty neat little piece of legacy support for Izumi for sure. And also, I just realized I'm not separating the uncommons into their own pile, so I should do that. All right, let's see what else we have here. Okay, so this level 0, this is a pretty nice level 0, in my opinion, because it has the ability where when it reverses a battle opponent, if you have a climax in the climax area, you can put the top card of your deck into stock. And then additionally, on play, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a character, you can put it underneath this as a marker, and during your turn, if it has a marker, it gets plus 2k, allowing it to attack for 4,000. And then if you have a climax, which is usually going to be a 1k1, you get 5,000 power, pretty strong, and allows you to have an advantage generating card even on a level 0. The main competition for this card is going to be a new level 1 Megumi, which I'm pretty sure is the box topper Megumi of this set, where it is a level 1 that can stock charge with a climax. Both of those cards, both very useful, being able to generate you additional advantage without having to be a climax combo card itself. Personally, I'm a big fan of this one just because it's Utaha, and Utaha is my favorite of the girls. Okay, anyways, moving on, we have a heal assist Eriri. We have a 1/1 Adachi, so this is a memory Adachi. And also, when she becomes reversed in battle, if you have 2 or less cards in memory, you get to put her into memory, feeding into those Megumi memory strategies. And then if this card is in memory, and you only have 1 copy of this in memory, so basically, it makes it so that you cannot stack this ability. At the beginning of each of your draw phases, you get to look at the top card of your deck, and you can either leave it on top or put it on the bottom. So this allows you to scout your incoming draws, and it's a pretty interesting card. And it's kind of weird that, like, optimally you want to wait until your opponent puts an early play on the board so that you can actually use this to remove that early play from the board, but also that first effect kind of incentivizes you to get this into memory as fast as possible in order to get as much value out of that top check, because the more turns that you can use that ability, the more value you get. Okay, this is in my opinion one of the more disappointing cards of the set, not because it's bad, but just because other cards in other sets basically have the same abilities, but for less of a condition. So this Utaha says she gets plus 500 for each of your other game characters, lets her cap out at 6k if you have a full board. And then on attack, if you have 2 or more memory, you get to do a crush effect. So you get to look at top 2, choose your trigger. And yeah, just other cards in other sets basically get to 6k power and have the crush ability for basically no condition at all. So I'm a little bit bummed out at this particular card, but that doesn't make it any less bad, unless you're playing a deck that just does not generate any memory at all. All right, moving right along. We have not hit a double R in our first 2 packs, but I mean, we have a lot of packs left to go, so let's see what we can get. We have a level 1 cost 0 bottom deck bomb, and then also has on play, you can ditch a climax to search your deck for a game character, pretty useful in the Icy Tail decks where you're using a lot of pants climaxes. This one has on play, you can give one of your opponent's front row characters minus 1,000 power, which is sometimes useful in metagames where there are a lot of really low power characters running around that have like on reverse abilities, things like Nazarick. This is a pretty useful card against those decks, or even in like a Saekano mirror. Saekano has a lot of very, very low power characters that you can use this effect to snipe them off the board. Okay, and we have our first double R. This is a very, very interesting double R, and this is the one that goes into the Utaha Eriri standby choice deck that I talked about earlier. So this card is intended to be played at level 2, and you can do that with the help of a specific level 2 Utaha, which I think I'm going to wait to pull that particular Utaha before we get into how this particular package works, because you kind of have to talk about all the pieces at once. Okay, the 2/1 Kato, this is the one that combos with the climax, gold bar climax that we already pulled, and it lets you early play a specific Eriri from your deck, and additionally is a level assist and can rest yourself to put that particular Eriri on the bottom of your deck so that you can actually call it out with the climax combo effect. We'll go ahead and take a look at that Eriri when we eventually pull it, because I'm going to be honest, I do not remember which one it is off the top of my head. Okay, here we have a level 0 Eriri. So this set did come out quite a bit before Spy Family, and then in Spy Family we got the level 0 Sylvia that has on attack you can either pay 1 or clock the top card of your deck in order to twin drive. And this Eriri is on attack you can clock yourself 1 to twin drive. So you don't have the option to pay 1, which is a little bit unfortunate. That would have made this card significantly more playable. But going back and looking at this card after seeing Spy Family just makes me realize how powerful being able to clock yourself for Twin Drive at level 0 really is. So I definitely think that this is not like a bad card by any means, but it's really hard to it's really hard to think of this card as great when you have a card like Sylvia in the picture in Spy Family, you know what I mean? And for our rare, we have a 2/2 Eriri. She gets 4k power if you have 2 or more memory. And then on attack, you can look at the top card of your deck and either put it on top or put it in your waiting room. So 10/5, kind of a standby target sort of thing. There are a couple other standby targets, notable standby targets in this set that we will want to take a look at. So this one is not particularly the one that people look to when they're trying to bring out a standby target at level 1. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Here we have a level 0 drop salvage. So this card is basically like the Miko drop salvage from the Hololive Gen 0 trial deck, where it's just a utility card that just happens to be extremely large. Because it has that secondary effect, all of your opponent's characters get pay 2 encore. So all of your opponent's characters getting pay 2 encore is honestly a pretty fake downside. So this card basically just gets to be 3,500 power for free. And it's just a really, really nice level 0 utility card if you're looking for something that wants to double as a plussing slot with that big 3,500 power. Big fan of this card. Here we have a level 2 killer. So in set 2, we had the Eriri level 2 killer that was 6,500 power on your turn if you have a card in memory, and then gets plus 6,000 power against level 2. This particular Izumi, the level 2 killer effect is not tied to the memory condition. And then her memory effect is she gains 500 power during your turn, and the opponent cannot play backups during her battle. So she would swing for 10/5 into level 2s, as opposed to the 12/5 from Eriri. But the opponent cannot use backups. Unfortunately, Alice is out of the meta at this point because of the restrictions that have been placed upon it. And then the more prominent level 2 in the current meta, which is 2/1 Muron in That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, is unfortunately a bit out of reach of this Izumi because of the 2/1 Shuna Muron back row setup that allows Muron to go up to 12/5. So unfortunately, this card not really seeing too much use. Okay, this is a pretty interesting Tomoya. I have mixed feelings about this card, but some of my friends that have played Saekano are big fans of this. So this doesn't do anything immediately. When this card gets sent to your waiting room from stage, you can pay 1 to put it into memory, and then it still doesn't do anything yet. When this card is in memory, at the beginning of your climax phase, you can pay the cost, which is discard a card and flip this card in your memory face down. And if you do, you get to search your deck for a game character. And the reason I'm not a big fan of this card is just because it's so dang slow. You have to wait for it to die first, and then you have to wait till your climax phase to use the ability. So you can't even use the card that you search until the following turn. So this card is like a 2-turn delay drop search. And the only real upside that you get out of it is that it goes to memory, so it counts as a memory card for like your things that count memory. But at the same time, when it flips itself down, it doesn't count as a game character anymore in memory, so it doesn't count for abilities that count game characters. And then also, it's just, yeah, I think there's much better memory cards that you could be running, personally. Yeah, not my favorite card. Okay, here we have a very interesting Eriri level 0. So this card, first of all, it has a soul trigger. And this has been seeing use in a very strange, not super common deck, but very interesting deck that we will be featuring later on the channel, that uses this climax combo with a lot of cards that have soul triggers. So Eriri's first effect is when any of your characters trigger check a card with a soul trigger icon, you get to give a character 1,500 power until end of turn. This gets really, really silly when you have more than one copy of Eriri, especially when you account for Eriri's climax combo. So her climax combo is you get to give one of your characters free Twin Drive. So this allows you to get extra stock, because compared to a normal Twin Drive where you're paying 1 and then triggering twice, you just get to trigger twice with this climax combo. And by triggering twice, this gives you even more chances to trigger more soul triggers to give more boosts with her first effect. Very, very cool. And the climax that she goes with is a salvage a character that has a soul trigger icon and then give 2 of your characters +1 soul. So it's a very uncommon trigger, very uncommon to have level 0s that have soul triggers, and it's just a very interesting card overall. The climax that this particular combo is most likely to be paired with is Standby for the Utaha level 3 that we are getting in this set. And with Standby, you get to utilize that twin drive very well, being able to standby out new characters in order to have a really, really strong board, while at the same time having very high offense through these soul trigger boosts from Eriri. Okay, let's keep going. Here we have a 3-2 off finisher for Izumi. So Izumi's strategy in this set is her level 3s revolve around having 6 cards in clock. And so you have cards that change their abilities. If you have 6 cards in clock, there are cards that allow you to boost yourself in damage in order to get to 6 cards in clock. And this is one of those cards that lets you boost your damage. So when this card attacks on the turn you play her, you can clock a game character from your waiting room to bottom of clock, and then give her Cancel Burn 3. This is an off finisher for the Izumi deck and allows you to boost your damage. And here we have another card of the 6 damage archetype. So this is a 3-0 event. First of all, it has the line of text at the very end that says you cannot play another copy of this until the end of the turn. So like basically you can only play 1 copy of Desperate Overnight Work each turn. So this card lets you either look at top 4, add any card from among them to your hand, put the rest in the waiting room. This can add an event or climax as well as a character, and you do not have to show your opponent what card you add. The second effect that you can choose, if you have 6 cards in clock, you get to search your deck for whatever card you want, any card, and you just put it in your hand and you shuffle your deck. So again, incentive for having 6 cards in clock. For our rare, we have the 3-2 Utaha, and the climax that goes... Oh, actually, no. Wait, okay. Never mind. I lied. It does not have Kato on the climax. I remember back when the set first came out, I was getting gaslit by my friends that were saying it was Kato, but it's actually short-haired Utaha. I remember now. No flame, please. But yeah, so this is the standby combo that is run alongside the Eriri. This particular Utaha is in a package of cards that I guess in the English version they're calling it the Gathered Again package. In the Japanese version, I think we were going with the name Reunion, so it was the Reunion package. This particular climax combo is not very exciting at all. It's just on attack you can pay 2, deal 2. It's rather inefficient. It's a climax combo that we have seen previously in Mushoku Tensei on the Ghislaine combo. But the real exciting part of the Gathered Again package is on the non-climax combo abilities. So this particular Utaha, she has the first effect, all of your other game characters get plus 1500 power, so she's a global 1500. So incentivizes you standbying a bunch of copies of her out onto the board and being really, really big. And then her second effect is on attack, if you have 2 or more other game characters, you can discard a copy of this Utaha in order to heal 1. And later on, when we look at a level 3 Megumi within the same package, that one discards a copy of herself in order to burn. So you want to be playing lots of copies of the Gathered Again level 3s in that deck in order to utilize their abilities, because the climax combo honestly isn't all that exciting. But the deck is very, very fun and very, very unorthodox. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that particular deck, because we are going to be featuring that later on the channel. Okay. This Eriri is another piece of legacy support. I believe this one clock bonds to the level 1 combo from the first set. Someone let me know in the comments if I'm incorrect, or maybe I'll just check it in post. The second effect of this card is you can rest her. Choose 1 copy of the whichever Eriri it is. Give it plus 2500 power and plus 1 soul until end of turn. What I think is quite interesting about this particular card is that usually bonders, usually they bond to another character. Like they usually never bond to the same character. So like, let's say Hololive, you have a Flare that bonds to a Noelle, or a Noelle that bonds to a Flare, things like that. But it's pretty uncommon for a character to have a bond to themselves. Off the top of my head, the only two that I can even think of are this Eriri and the Helmet Kanata that lets you bond to the level 3 Kanata. Those are the only two that I can think of. But like, I think like every other bond that I could possibly think of bonds to a different character. So I think that's a pretty interesting thing about this card. Ooh, okay, for our next double R, we have a very universally useful level 0, which is the level 0 Megumi. So this one has a Chiuri-esque ability. It's very close to being a Chiuri. When this card is sent from stage to waiting room, you can discard 1 to look at up to top 3 cards from the top of your deck. Normally, a Chiuri effect would let you look at up to 4. You can choose up to 1 game character from among them, add it to your hand, send the rest to waiting room. But then, if you do not have a green card in memory, you can send this card to memory from your waiting room. So it just allows you to build some extra memory while also just being a very, very, very solid utility effect as well. Okay, let's see. For our rare, we have a level 2 Michiru. This one is a legacy support piece for the Icy Tail Michiru from set 1, where Icy Tail normally mills 4 from the bottom of the opponent's deck, and this Michiru lets you mill +1. Notably, this particular card does it does stack, so you can go up to 6 or even more cards on that mill. Unlike some other cards that we have seen recently, such as in Japanese, in the recent Quintessential Quintuplets Premium Booster, we have a Miku that says you can add +1 to the set 3 Miku's Icy Tail effect, but only if you do not have another copy on stage. So that one doesn't stack, but this one does stack. All right. Okay. No double R's here. Here's the level 0 Pants combo that I was talking about earlier. This is the only blue Climax combo in the set. And the Climax combo says at the beginning of your attack phase, if you have another game character, you can choose a first solo concert in your Climax area and a Climax in your waiting room, and you can swap them. So yeah, like I said, it's very strange that this Climax combo is, its literal only purpose is to just swap for other Climaxes. And then the other effect of the Michiru is you can pay 1, rest 2, top check 4, add up to 1 level 1 or higher card from among them. Alright. Okay, this level 2 event. So for lack of a better tool against compression, this 2/2 event has seen fringe use here and there. Literally all it does is your opponent mills 24. That is all it does. This is a very useful card potentially against an opponent that has a compressed deck. And then if you force your opponent to refresh, which you probably will, they're milling 24, then it also is kind of an unavoidable burn 1 event. So it's not the worst card. It has seen fringe use here and there. Very, very troll card though, for sure. Okay, for our next rare, we have a legacy support piece. Actually, no, this one's not a legacy support piece. This one works with the new level 1 Megumi combo. When this card is reversed, it is a level 0 Clock Bomb, but also has a secondary effect where you can pay 1 and send this standing card to memory in order to salvage the level 1 Megumi combo from your waiting room and add it to your hand. That particular new Megumi combo is a double R door combo. Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. For our next double R, we have the level 0 Megumi. This is the one that I alluded to way back when we talked about the 1/1 Tomoya support. So this is first of all, it's a free runner, which is really, really cool. Or sorry, it's not a free runner, it's a runaway runner. So if the opponent has a character across from her, she can run to an empty slot in your front row. When she becomes reversed, if you do not have a red card already in memory, you can send her to memory. And while she's in memory, she is a Climax swapper. So you can pay 1 at the beginning of your main phase. You can pay 1, discard a card, discard a Climax, and salvage a Climax from your waiting room that has a different color than the one that you got rid of. So you basically can only run this card in decks that have 2 different color climaxes. So some sample lineups would be like you take the Gold Bar Door deck from set 2, or maybe you can take a deck using the new combos from set 3, so like a Door level 1, Gold Bar level 3, or you could run this in the Standby Choice Utaha Eriri deck. But yeah, pretty good card overall. It's free memory, potentially a plussing 0 on turn 1, but it is a very, very low power card, the lowest possible power, 500. So if your opponent does tri-field you, this card is definitely dead for sure. But yeah, very good utility card. I think people usually run this as like a 1 or 2 of, alongside other plussing 0s. Okay, so here we have the Brainstorm for the Gathered Again package. That's the package that the 3/2 Utaha goes in. So this card allows you to play Gathered Again characters from your hand, as well as climaxes, without having color requirements. This is very useful for not only your climaxes, but also for the blue and yellow Gathered Again characters that are played in the deck, such as the 1/0 Michiru and the 2/2 Izumi. So that deck is technically, it's a 4-color deck, but it can operate with only red and green. Additionally, he is a tap self-salvage Brainstorm, and he also has the effect, when your climax is played, you can choose one of your other characters with Gathered Again in its card name, and that character gets, at the end of their attack, you can draw a card and discard a card. So lets you filter out unneeded cards out of your hand, try to draw into more copies of the Utaha and Kato that you would want to use their effects where you discard copies of themselves. Really, really neat package overall. And for the Michiru, we have a 1/0/5/5 if you have the Tomoya Brainstorm on stage. And she also has Twin Drive built in, so this also synergizes very well with the level 0 Eriri, which scales very well off of how many times you can trigger. This Michiru also has a Soul Trigger herself, which again synergizes very well with the Eriri. And yeah, you just basically you get to spread Twin Drive all over the place with the Eriri and the Michiru already having it. You just get to trigger a bunch of Soul Triggers, deal a lot of damage to your opponent, while also getting a ton of power off of the Eriri's non-climax combo ability. Okay, for our rare, we have 1/0 Graduation Day Megumi. So when she becomes reversed, if the battle opponent is level 1 or lower, you can put a card from memory with Megumi in its card name back into your waiting room in order to clock bomb that opposing character. And when she's placed on stage from hand, she gets plus 1500 power until end of turn. So she's a 6k attacker. So this allows her to potentially 2-for-1 off of swinging over your opponent's character, and then also getting rid of another opposing character with the clock bomb effect afterwards. All right. So we're a little over halfway through the box. We haven't seen any foils yet. We have our next double R, which is a 1/0 Utaha. This is a very, very simple card. It's just a 1/0/5/5 standby combo on reverse search. That's literally it. But in my eyes, standby level 1 combos that can gain you additional advantage are just extremely strong, even when they are very simple like this. We have seen standby advantage combos in the past that have done pretty well, such as the Kaede combo from Bunny Girl Senpai Set 1. We have seen the Kaguya level 1 combo from Kaguya-sama Set 1 as well. Those have been pretty potent combos. In the current context of the metagame, running an on-reverse combo like this is pretty risky when you have decks like Chainsaw Man running around, which have gigantic level 1 lines. But just in general matchups, it's usually pretty easy to get reverses even with just a 5/5 or like 6k character when backed up by like a support. And yeah, I'm just personally a big fan of level 1 plussing standby combos, even when they are simple like this. Okay, and yeah, so this is going to be the level 1 standby combo that is going to be run alongside the Eriri for the standby choice deck. For a rare, we have a 3/2 Megumi. This one is an off finisher, but also a new Top Check X. We haven't seen a Top Check X in Saekano since the trial deck, which was an Eriri. She gains, okay, I think she just gains extra power in addition to her Top Check X. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that people were running that card as a card to add cards off the top dig for climaxes. And now we have this new Megumi. She's not only a top check X, but she also has an off finisher effect on attack. You can pay 1, discard 2 cards, burn 1, and then stack a card from your opponent's waiting room on top of their deck. So pretty nice way to deal extra damage if you're okay with the cost being a little bit high. All right, still no foils. Here we have Gathered Again Izumi for the Gathered Again package. This is a 2/2, again, with Twin Drive if you have a Tomoya Brainstorm on stage. If you have 2 or more other game characters, it gets plus 4k, and she has like the... She has like the pseudo encore pay 1 effect if your entire front row is reversed. Here we have the 3/2 Izumi combo for our rare. All of the yellow combos in the set are on choice climaxes. This is the climax for level 3. So when this card is placed on stage from hand, you can put a game character from your waiting room to the bottom of your clock, and then if you do, at the end of that turn, you get to heal twice. And so this essentially functions as a heal, but also allows you to activate those abilities that require you to have 6 cards in your clock, such as her climax combo. So her climax combo is on attack. If you have a full board of game characters, you burn 1, or if you have 6 cards in your clock, you burn 3 instead. So it's a burn 3 for free, assuming you have 6 cards in clock. Can be pretty strong, especially when combined with some of the other finishers, like you have like the where's the 3/2 cancel burn 3 that also fills up your clock with even more cards. And there are some other cards in the Izumi package that allow you to add a lot more cards to your clock in order to just really set up that 6 cards in clock condition. Now, the one thing that is a bit problematic about this one is that it does require you to have a full board. And then that makes it susceptible to memory kit counters. And also, I'm not 100% sure on the ruling, but I think that if this gets memory kit countered, you might not be able to heal at the end of the turn. I'm not 100% sure on that. Someone in the comments, let me know. There is a level 1 Izumi card that is intended to go with this that lets you give a lot of power to your Izumis in order to make sure that you're not getting memory kit countered. So we'll get to that when we get to that. Level 1 Eriri combo for our rare. This one is basically Tae from Bang Dream or Weiss from Ruby, where on attack you reveal the three cards on top of your deck, and then your opponent picks in a character or event from among them. You add it to your hand, and then you can put up to one of those other 2 revealed cards back on top of your deck, and it has a 6k body, and this combos with a choice. Oh, and then for our first, maybe only, foil of the box, we have the foil version of the level 0 Megumi rare. So it does not have different art, but does have a very, very intricate foil pattern. Looks very, very nice. For our rare, we have the 3/2 Michiru. This one basically lets you help out your Icy Tail Michiru. She has the on-play effect, or not on-play. Well, she does have an on-play effect. You can draw 2, ditch 1, and then on attack, you can discard 2 to look at up to 2 cards from the top of the opponent's deck, put up to 2 of them on the bottom of the opponent's deck in any order, and then during this turn, this gets your opponent cannot play events or backups from their hand during this card's battle. So it prevents them from using something like a mill counter or like a refresh counter or something like that. And you get to take the climaxes from the top of your opponent's deck, put them on the bottom of your opponent's deck to set up for that Icy Tail effect, and also make it easier for this particular Michiru to deal damage. So pretty nice supplementary piece, but at the same time, not super exciting. For our rare, we have a Brainstorm that goes in the Eriri package, so I'll go ahead and leave that over here. For our second to last pack, Okay, there's nothing here, so there's got to be something nice in our last pack, I think. For our rare, we have a new Utaha level 1 combo. So this one is 5/5 if you have 2 or more other game characters, and then at the end of her attack, you can send the gold bar climax to your waiting room in order to look at up to top 4 and choose up to 2 characters from among them, add them to your hand. So this does allow you to get good combo out of just a single copy of the climax combo, but at the same time, you do have to sacrifice the climax, which makes it a little bit awkward depending on how many cards you have left in deck. You might want to attack earlier or later in order to get maximum value out of the combo while also maybe trying to get some climaxes back into your refresh. So just a little bit of an awkward card, but not the worst. All right, so we should have something cool in this pack, and we have a double R. So we have the level 1 Izumi combo. So this one, during your turn, if you have a card in memory, this gets +1 level and +2500 power, letting her swing for 6/5, and level 2 if you have like a level support or something like that. And then on attack, climax combo with, wait a minute, is this a double combo? Oh, this is a double combo. I didn't even realize that. I have not actually had someone play this particular deck against me. I've seen somebody play Izumi with like another top end, but I've never seen somebody play both of these climaxes in the same deck. But these really are both the same climax, aren't they? Yeah, so the climaxes in this deck are the level 1 Eriri, the level... This is the level 1, right? Yeah, the level 1 Eriri, the level 3 Eriri for this one, and then the choice for Izumi. So yeah, I guess they are the same climax. I actually did not realize that. That makes this quite... What's the right word? Incentivizing, I guess, to use, now that I know that they are both the same climax. So, anyways, the climax combo is on attack. If you have 2 or more other characters, you get to look at up to top 4, choose a game character or the Little Love Rhapsody event from among them, add it to your hand, and send the rest to waiting room. And then, if the card that you added to your hand was a level 3 or higher, you get to give one of your characters +1 soul, and she can choose herself as well. So this could be a pretty nice way to set up your level 3 Izumi early plays for your mid game, while also at the same time giving yourself extra soul and allowing yourself to push more damage during the early game. Yeah, really, really neat that these are the same climax. I actually did not realize that. That's crazy. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is a really interesting card because this is a card that I have seen used in Assault Lily, actually, over on the JP side. So this one is like a mill runner with a twist. Instead of just being a mill runner, at the start of your climax phase, you get to choose one of your characters, and that character becomes a mill runner until the end of the opponent's next turn. So you could use this. You could just like use this as a turn 1 play to allow this to become a mill runner, or you could even park this in your back row and give the ability to one of your front row characters in order to turn that into a runner. Just a very, very interesting card, and I would definitely like to see this more in future sets because I think it's very, very interesting. This is the Gathered Again Megumi that I was talking about earlier that you run in the, obviously, the Gathered Again deck, like the Eriri standby deck. So if you have 2 or more other characters with Gathered Again in their name, this gets plus 2,000 power, on play heal, and then on attack, or on direct attack, sorry, you can discard a character with Gathered Again in its card name, and... Wait, this one's also healer? I could have sworn this one was burner. I guess this one was the only burner then. But yeah, this allows you to do a lot of healing. If you're able to standby out a lot of copies of the Utaha and the Megumi while at level 2, you can have a gigantic board which sets you up for direct attacks with the Megumi. You can get a lot of healing done that way. Really, really strong. And for our last rare of the box, we have the 3/2 Utaha. So this one is another card that goes into the Eriri package. We did not pull the 2/1, so we will have to keep an eye out for that in our second box. But yeah, for our first box, our results right here for our double Rs and for our 1 foil, we pulled the level 0 Megumi. So we'll go ahead and clean up, and we'll be right back with our second booster box. Okay, here we go, box number 2. So we have not been able to pull a serial on the channel. Obviously, it is really, really hard to pull those, but, you know, maybe today is the day with this box right here. I'd love to see our first serial on the channel, or at least an SP. I don't think I've pulled an SP in a bit on the channel. For our box topper, for this box, we have level 0 Eriri. So when this attacks, you give one of your other characters plus 1,000 power times its soul until end of turn, and then you can pay 1 to give one of your characters plus 1 soul. So it allows you to give a bigger boost. A little bit of a cheesy card with that extra soul boost. And if you want a buffer, there are definitely more universally useful cards to pick, but definitely a fun card if you want to try to just do a bunch of damage to your opponent. Okay, first pack of second box. We have gathered again Utaha. The people that know me really well, they know that I am a proponent of the long hair Utaha, and so the fact that she cut her hair in the future, not the greatest, but she's still best girl, so, you know, we're okay with that. All right, we pulled Eriri and Utaha in our first 2 packs, the dynamic duo for that particular deck. And for our first double R of box 2, we have the Utaha level 1 again. And for our rare, we have the level 0 Megumi back row runner. Oh, actually, hold on. I forgot to talk about this card when I opened it in the previous box. But this particular card is a legacy support piece for the original level 3 Megumi. So that's the one that you can bring out at level 2 with the 2-1 climax swap or climax combo that swaps with a 3-2 Megumi from memory. So this card says if this card is in your waiting room and you do not have a copy of her already in memory, this card's name is also treated as Ideal Girl Megumi, which was that level 3. And so the reason this is important is because there are cards in the first set, so the 1-1 Megumi as well as the promo level 0 on reverse Rize Megumi that allow you to send Ideal Girl memory from your waiting room to memory. And that would allow you to get this into memory to activate her third effect. Her third effect is if this card is in memory and you have only 1 copy of this in memory, when your Ideal Girl Megumi direct attacks, you can deal 1 damage to your opponent, which is really, really nice. It allows you to turn that 3-2 Megumi, which is intended to be a big wall. Your opponent has to crash into her, and then you can convert her into a finisher as well with those direct attacks to deal 1 damage. This Megumi's second effect is just an on-play effect. When you play this card, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a game character, put it in your hand and discard a card. So yeah, very nice piece of legacy support for that particular deck. Oh, okay, we have another repeat double R. Please don't let this be one of those box openings where I pull the same 5 double Rs in 2 boxes, please. And for our rare, we have the 3-2 Megumi. Okay, just an uncommon here. 1-0 Utaha combo with her climax. Common. And we have for our rare, we have a new level 1 Izumi. This is the 1-1 support that I said goes with the 3-2 from earlier by allowing you to put extra cards in your clock. So she has the effect at the beginning of your climax phase. You can choose up to 2 game characters from your waiting room, put them on the bottom of your clock, and then at the end of that turn, you get to put an equal number of cards that you put into clock from the bottom of your clock back into waiting room. So basically it just allows you to boost yourself up to 6 cards in clock until the end of the turn. Her second effect is at the start of your attack phase. For every 2 cards in your clock, you get to give a 2k buff to one of your characters. and you can split them up or you can stack them. So this is a really, really nice way to help out that 3-2 combo in order to make sure that it's not getting memory kick countered in order to not only lose condition, but if I'm correct, potentially also lose the heals. But mainly not getting memory kicked is the main part that you are worried about. You really want to get out of memory kick counter range, and this card is the perfect card to help out with that. Okay, for our rare, we have the 3-2 Michiru, and we have a double climax pack. Come on, let's pull some new double Rs. New double Rs, please. SR. Okay, we have the... This is a new 3-2 early play Megumi. So if you have 2 or more cards in memory, and all of them are Megumi named characters, this gets level -1 in hand, allowing you to early play it at level 2. And it is a shrinker. So when this is placed on stage from hand, you can blind stock 1 and then choose one of your opponent's level 1 or higher characters, and your opponent has to replace it with a lower level character from their waiting room. Okay, for our rare, we have the level 0 Michiru. The foil pattern on this one is not as intricate as the last one. It's kind of just like a slightly wavy squares pattern. But this is more or less the art that is on the pack. She has a different facial expression, though. Not like this. Don't do it. Don't do it, please. For our rare, we have 3-2. Oh, okay. So this is the level 3 that goes with the 1-1 Kato that we looked at earlier, the level assist. So let me just grab that real quick. Where is that card? This is Uncommons Rate. Where is that Kato? Or not 1-1, 2-1. Okay, so this 2-1 Megumi, so it's level assist, and then when you play the climax, you can pay 1, discard 2 to search your deck for 1 copy of this Eriri and place it on stage, and you can rest her to choose a copy of this Eriri, put it on the bottom of your deck so you can call it out. When this is placed on stage from hand or by the effect of the Megumi, you can top check 3, add 1, and at the beginning of the attack phase, if you have the gold bar climax in the climax area, so it's a double combo with Megumi, and you have a full board, you can pay 1. If you do, you get to kill one of your opponent's level 3 or lower front row characters, and then reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a game character, you get to choose a level 2 or lower back row opponent's character and send it to waiting room. So basically just allows you to just murder your opponent's board. If you're against a field-centric strategy or something that just really just wants certain characters on their backstage to be sticking around, then this is a pretty good way to get rid of those. However, it does use up a climax slot that you would otherwise want on like an advantage combo or a finisher. This particular pair of climax combos doesn't really do either one, so just keep that in mind if you want to put this card in your deck. All right, come on, new double R, please. Oh, at least we got a second foil. Okay. All right, we got the triple R for the level 1 and level 3 Izumis. Is this the right way or is this the right way? Okay, this way. And this one, the triple R pattern, is a very nice flower pattern. Big fan of this one. Let's go ahead and put that right there. I wonder if this means that we'll only get 4 double Rs, man. Okay, for our rare, we have the 3-2 Izumi. All right, come on, please. Any new double R. Please. For our rare, we have 3-2 Megumi. This is another new gate combo, I believe. Yeah, or a door combo, sorry. Another new door combo. 3-2 9k. If you have 2 or more other characters, this gets plus 2k power. However, no on-play effect. When this card attacks, if you have the door climax in the climax area, you can pay 1 to look at up to 5 cards from among them. Choose any number of them, send them to the waiting room, and then shuffle the rest back into their deck. So the long-time Weiss players know this as the Masamune effect. But that's getting into like a decade-old set at this point. Mocha type abilities are much more common nowadays, where you get to look at the top like 2 or 3 cards of the opponent's deck, and then if there are any climaxes there, you send them to waiting room, and then the rest get to stay on top of the deck, so it gets to contribute towards your next attack. Okay, no double R here. Oh, we have the level 0 Eriri. This is a card that I forgot about until now. So Saekano up until now has not had a climax swap, which is crazy, because its sets came out in like 2017 and 2019, where like climax swaps were getting printed left and right, and then they didn't get a climax swap until this set in 2022, which is crazy. But this Eriri's other effect is if she's on top of your clock at the start of your climax phase, you can draw a card, and if you do, discard a card. So pretty useful secondary ability if you want to clock this card because you already have the climax in hand that you need for like your late game or something. You can go ahead and clock her. You can get a nice extra filter. But yeah, we finally have a climax swap in Saekano. So very, very good for like the bar door deck from set 2, where you want to repeatedly spam that level 1 Kato combo over and over. Okay, here's our rare for the 2-1 Utaha. So now we can finally talk about this package. So let's go ahead and talk about the 0-0 and the 2-1 first, because these are the ones that are going to be hitting the board earliest. So the level 0 Eriri is a Brainstorm. She's a Tap Cell Salvage Brainstorm. And when your other character in the front row center slot that is either an Eriri or an Utaha gets reversed, you must put the top card of your deck underneath this card face up as a marker if you have 2 or less markers. So that means that she can hold up to 3 markers. At level 1, you're going to want to be standbying out this 2-1 Utaha, who is a 1k global, and she has an act ability that says pay 4 and rest her to summon the 3-2 Eriri from your hand to the stage. And this can be done no matter what level you're at. If you're at level 2, you can early play Eriri. If you're at level 1, you can early play Eriri, and that's why standbying out this Utaha is so important. Now this Eriri, level 0, what she does with those markers is that when you are paying the stock cost for the Utaha's effect, you can use markers instead of stock. So if you have like 2 markers, you can do 2 markers plus pay 2. If you have 3 markers, you can do all 3 markers and pay 1. It makes it very, very cheap to bring out the Eriri from your hand, and you can just get going from there. So it's very important going into the turn after you standby out this Utaha. You want to have enough stock and markers cumulatively to in order to pay that cost and try to get this Eriri out onto the board as soon as possible. Now this Eriri, she has a Yo Burn-esque effect. It's very similar. On attack, you mill the top card of your deck, and if that card is a game character, you deal damage to your opponent equal to the milled character's level. So a Yo Burner would reveal the top card and then burn X. This one mills the top card and burns X. Additionally, she has 2 ways to spawn additional copies of herself onto the board. That is what this deck aims to do. You want to get the first copy out onto the board with Utaha, and then you want to use Eriri's other effects to spit out more copies so that you can be very aggressive and just do a lot of burns to your opponent. So the first way that you can do it is with her climax combo, which is with choice. When you play the choice climax, if this card is in the front row and you have another game character, you can choose either a copy of herself or a copy of this level 3 Utaha, dressed up Utaha, from your waiting room and put it on stage. So if you want the more aggressive approach, you go for another copy of Eriri. If you want the safer approach, you go for Utaha, who is a healer. Eriri's last effect is kind of like a Hail Mary type effect. So at the beginning of your attack phase, you can put all cards from your hand and stock into your waiting room. And if the total number of cards that were put into your waiting room this way was 5 or more, you can call out an Eriri from your waiting room to stage. So you have to have a total of 5 resources. So you can do something like maybe like 3 stock, discard 2, or like 2 stock, discard 3. It just has to add up to 5 or more. But yeah, basically this is going to be a last-ditch sort of effect because you are just going to be getting rid of all of your resources to go for this final push. Now, The other effect of the Utaha, apart from being a healer, and her heal does work when she is placed off the Eriri's effect, she has the effect, when she attacks, if you have 2 or more other game characters, you can top check to rearrange. And this is important because it sets you up for the Eriri burn. You attack with Utaha first, you top check to rearrange. Let's see, you see a level 0 and a level 3. You put the level 0 on top, you trigger that with Utaha, and then you middle level 3 with Eriri burn 3. So those are the 2 approaches that you can go for. You can go for either the offensive approach by summoning more Eriris, or the more stable approach by bringing out Utaha. Very, very fun deck. It's very, very fun to go for this sort of strategy, bring out your level 3s, and just really start pushing a lot of damage onto your opponent as fast as possible. So we'll go ahead and put all our rares over here. Put this double R here. All right, we still have 1 double R left in this box left to go. At least 1 double R. So please give me something new. Please. Please. Nothing. No double R. For a rare, we got the Clock Bomb Megumi. 2 packs left. Please. Give me something new. Not like this, man. Not like this. All right. Here we have the regular version of the foil 3/2 Megumi that we pulled earlier. This one does have the art that matches the booster pack and the case topper playmat. All right, let's see if we have 1 more double R in this pack, and let's see if it's... What was the last double R we pulled in the first box again? Oh yeah, the Eriri. Please don't. Man, I don't know which I would be more bummed out by. If we don't pull a double R in this pack, or if we pulled a 3/2 Eriri in this pack. Okay, well, we pulled no double R. So this is a 4 double R box, and we pulled 4 dupes. Cool. So we're going to have to grab a bunch of the double Rs that we are missing for our box recap. And for our last rare of the box, we have the 2/2 Eriri. So that is going to conclude box 2. We'll be right back with those double Rs that we missed, as well as I'll be checking to see any rares in particular that we missed throughout our box opening as well. And we'll go ahead and be right back with the recap. Okay, guys, we are back with our recap. So unfortunately, it is a regular occurrence on this channel that I pull the same double Rs in 2 boxes. So we do have quite a bit to look at here with the rest of the double Rs. In particular, we have the level 0 Eriri, the 3/2 Megumi, the 1/0 Megumi, 3/2 Utaha, and 0/0 Michiru. So let's go ahead and start with the level 0 Eriri. So this card is an on-death Kome type ability. So in previous sets, such as Bofuri, Bofuri and like Hololive, they have been printing some cards that let you look up to 3 cards from the top of your deck to try to find a climax, add it to your hand, and if you add a climax, discard a card. Those ones are on reverse, whereas this Eriri is on death. So this does give it a bit more usefulness compared to those on reverse ones, because you can actually use it during your main phase, but it does require you to play over it. So long are the days since we have had this effect on play on a level 0 that just like really didn't have any like condition with like color or anything. But this Eriri does allow you to just grab any climax from the top 3. Doesn't have any color restriction or anything like that. So if you're looking for a little bit of extra mill in your level 0 game, or a little bit of extra access to your climaxes, this is a card that you may want to look into. Although at the same time, there is so much good utility in Saekano that I think it might be a little bit hard to fit more than like maybe 1 or 2 copies of this card. But still, a good card to have nonetheless. Let's move over here to the level 0 Michiru next, as long as we're on level 0 utility cards. So the level 0 Michiru is a Search Brainstorm. And she has the effect where when you play a climax, you get to look at the top card of your deck. You can... Is that correct? Wait a minute. I could have sworn this card is you get to put it on top or bottom or waiting room. I'm going to double check real quick. Hold up. I have Yute open, thankfully. Is this top or bottom? Yeah, okay, yeah, this is not correct. This card is supposed to say put it on top or bottom of your deck or into your waiting room. So... I will need to let Intern Kun know about this one. But yeah, so when you play a Climax, you get to look at the top card of your deck and either put it on top or bottom or waiting room. So pretty useful card. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the card just on the fact that it's a search brainstorm, and if you guys are longtime watchers of the channel, you guys know that I am significantly more in favor of salvage brainstorms, but that on Climax placement effect can be pretty useful depending on the situation. Okay, let's move next to the level 3 Utaha. We'll save the Climax combos for last. So the level 3 Utaha is an early play if you have 4 or more characters. If all of your characters are game trait, this gets plus 1500 power and hand encore. So 10-5 hand encore, very solid. And then also on play, you can pay 1 to salvage a Climax. This is one of the more useful cards for boosting up the set 2 deck, the gold bar door deck, being able to use that on play ability to just grab another gold bar out of your waiting room, slam it, and just continue using your level 1 gold bar combo into the mid to late game. And of course, that Climax grabbing ability is just useful in the end game, just in general, especially with a late game such as that set 2 door combo. That door combo is very easy to use when low on stock because the burns activate on reverse. And then also because of the change chain, you can kind of budget your stock in creative ways. And that allows you to kind of circumvent the fact that you're paying 3 stock in order to get this Utaha out onto the board and use her on-play effect. But yeah, pretty good card overall. And for our final 2 double Rs, we have the 2 new Megumi double R combos. So the first one is the door combo. So this is a 1045. She gets plus 45, or no, plus 45. She gets plus 500 power for each of your other game characters in the backstage. So this lets her go up to 5500 power. Not the highest, but not the lowest. Her Climax combo is on attack, you do a Shizu effect, so you mill the top 2 cards of your deck into waiting room. Choose a level X or lower game character from among them, where X is the sum of levels of the milled cards, and add it to your hand. If the chosen character is level 3 or higher, you can bounce one of your opponent's characters. Unfortunately, unlike the cards with similar abilities that we've seen in sets like Azur Lane, those cards say if the sum of milled characters was 3 or more, but this one you actually have to salvage a 3 or higher, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's still a pretty solid card nonetheless. And so this combo is the one that you can grab off of the level 0 rare that we pulled earlier. This is also the one that we pulled as an SR. So you can pay 1, send this standing card to memory in order to grab this from your waiting room, and it gives you easy access to use this combo for multiple turns in a row. All right, for our level 3 combo, we have the new Megumi. So this card, when placed on stage from hand, is a healer. However, she has a twist. If you play her onto stage and you have a full board, instead of healing to waiting room, you get to heal to stock instead of healing to waiting room. So essentially, it allows your final copy to come into play for 1 stock. Pretty cool. All right, her Climax combo is on attack. You need to have 2 or more game characters in memory, and she Climax combos with gold bar. You can pay 1, discard 2 to burn 3. And then if the damage is canceled, any level 1 or higher cards that were revealed before your opponent revealed the Climax get sent to clock anyways. So this is a very interesting effect. And personally, I think that it was a very exciting effect when they first revealed it because it allows you to just get something out of the effect even if your opponent canceled. But in my eyes, it ended up just kind of being a little bit too expensive, especially when you're trying to play multiple copies. The fact that you have to discard 2 cards per copy of this Megumi, and she doesn't cantrip on play, just makes using triple is just like really unreasonable. And the cost for a burn 3 is just a tad too expensive. Especially considering even though it has that bonus of potentially sending cards to your opponent's clock, even if they cancel the burn, there is also the possibility that your opponent could just like cancel off the top, or maybe they just reveal a bunch of zeros before the burn, and you just don't get to send anything to clock anyway. So it's honestly just not the greatest level 3 finisher in the grand scheme of things, just because the resource allocation is a little bit awkward. Try to play multiple copies of this. And it's honestly made worse by the fact that other supplementary finishers in this set have the same cost. So if you look at the level 3 Megumi, that is the Top Check X, which was a rare, which I believe we pulled in the second box. Okay, yeah, so this one right here, if we look at this level 3 Megumi, this one has the same cost for the burn, which is on attack, pay 1, ditch 2. So you just don't really have the option to be super flexible between some of these finisher options, which is kind of a shame. And so for that reason, I think that this is not a super great combo finisher for this set. I think that a pretty good combination of combos that utilizes something from the new set would be the level 1 Megumi combo with the level 3 Megumi, the red one from set 2. So you run like an 8-door deck. And that is something that we will be exploring later on the channel. So keep your eyes peeled for that. All right. With that being said, that is pretty much going to wrap up our double R recap. And we have a couple SPs for you guys. Here we have the 3-2 Megumi and the 3-2 Utaha. And as we were saying at the beginning of the video, these are expected to be 2 SPs per case. And then if you get a secret rare, it would replace one of your SPs. And so here we have just our 2 SPs. That is pretty much going to do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, this has been Randall, aka Shizukats, on the Tressa's Collectibles channel. Be sure to keep a lookout for our upcoming content like deck profiles and gameplay videos. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.